Grit's a catchy phrase that we all talk about each and every day, but how do you actually build it? What's up, Competitor Nation? Jake here, your Chief Encouragement Officer, and we're back with a brand new episode of the Compete Podcast talking about how we build our grit. Specifically, what's the one thing you can do today to build your grit? Now, grit today is a popular, catchy phrase. You see it everywhere. I have the opportunity to talk to organizations and teams about it because we're hearing it a lot more in our common language than we did 10, 20 years ago. So first, what is grit actually? According to Angela Duckworth, it's a combination of passion and perseverance for a long-term goal. Essentially, it's our ability to go after those meaningful pursuits, those long-term victories, no matter how long it takes or despite any adversity or challenges we face along the way. The problem today is a lot of people want grit, but few are willing to build it. A lot of our world today, unfortunately, wants grit, but few are willing to go after it to actually build it. We're obsessed with these meaningless instant gratification goals instead of putting in time to go after the goals that maybe have a little bit delayed gratification. Maybe they take a little bit longer to achieve, but they're a lot more meaningful. I've told you time and time again, it's not the easy things we do in life that make us proud. It's the difficult challenges we overcome. The meaningful victories that we pursue. Those are the things that make life worth living. It's not the meaningless checkboxes, the Amazon Prime quick deliveries that we get every single day. It's the long-term pursuits. Because the people that achieve the big things, they're the ones we look at and think, man, that's awesome. That's inspiring. How you went after that goal for months or sometimes years. Look what you created. And a lot of times we don't get to see the full journey from beginning to that glorified finish line. We just see the finish line. And for a lot of people, they think it was quick. They think it was an overnight success. They fail to see what all went into creating this moment, this opportunity, this victory. And what they need to understand is a lot of it had to do with that person's grit to play the long game. But before we talk about how you can build it, let's talk a little bit about it. Grit is a product of consistently working to build our skills, whether it's writing, whether it's making sales calls, whether it's doing a video blog for you or a podcast. It's a matter of putting in time to build the skill set, to build your competence and your confidence in it by getting rep after rep after rep. It's showing up every day and doing the work to improve every single opportunity you have. That's what we build our grit with. The grit grows because we keep showing up and doing the work when we're not motivated or when it's challenging, when it's uncomfortable, when it's difficult. That's how you build your grit. Pretty much any skill we want to become better at requires consistent, intentional practice at it. Getting those reps in. Kind of like a musical instrument. Take, for instance, when I was a kid, I tried to play the guitar. I played the guitar just very poorly, let's say. I had a private instructor. I would go take some lessons on how to learn the guitar. And for the first few weeks, I was pretty good about practicing every single day between lessons. If I went to lessons on Tuesday afternoon after school, I would spend time Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday practicing what I'd done the week before. And my practices the following week, not surprising, would build on what we did the previous time. My practices would be able to build because I'd put in work over the last 6 or 7 days, continuing to refine my skills to try to improve what I'd done. But like a lot of kids, after a couple months, I was kind of getting bored with it. Just like we talked about last episode of being able to be okay with boredom, I got really bored. And so my practices went from every day between practice sessions to maybe 1 or 2 days between practice sessions when I really felt motivated. And it's no real surprise in that moment that my lessons really kind of started to go downhill. Instead of building on the previous practice session, we kind of had to repeat the last practice session because I hadn't invested any time between the two classes in improving what we'd worked on. I had failed to consistently show up and do the work because for a lot of times I was looking at where I was now. I was comparing it to where I wanted to go, how good I wanted to be with the guitar, what songs I wanted to play, and the gap was pretty large. Like it was large enough that made me think, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get there. So instead of focusing on what am I doing today to improve, I kept staring at the gap and let the gap demotivate me and let the gap talk me out of actually doing the work until eventually I just quit playing the guitar altogether. Instead of showing up every day, working on those skills, building my confidence and my competence by intentionally doing the work, I stopped doing it. I stared at the gap. I gave it as my excuse on why to quit playing the guitar altogether. I just wasn't, quote, naturally talented. That was my out. I didn't have that musical mindset that other people did, and so I quit altogether. And I learned a valuable lesson that you can't actually get better at things if you show up inconsistently. You're never going to improve your skills if you only show up on the days you're motivated to do the work. We talked about this. We know this. So back to you and building your grit today. One of the easiest ways to improve your grit is to train your focus on what you're going to do today. It's answering the question, what's something I can do for 15 to 20 minutes today to build a skill that I want 5 years from now? Where can I improve today so that tomorrow I have something to build on it? You're not worried about tomorrow. You're not worried about next month. You're definitely not staring at the gap between today and where you want to go. Because if you want the ability to persevere long term, to take on challenges and adversities and build your skill and reach success, you have to learn to first focus on just today, because today is the only day you control. It's the only time that you have available to you. You can't mess with what you did yesterday. It's out of reach. It's out of touch. It's happened. And you can only influence tomorrow by how you show up today. You ignore the gap between where you want to go or where you're not at yet, and simply focus on how can I improve my positioning for tomorrow? How can I invest 15 to 20 minutes today to improve? If you're trying to improve your nutrition or your fitness, where are you spending 15 to 20 minutes? Are you going out for a run? Are you meal prepping for tomorrow? Are you working out? If you want to be a better speaker tomorrow, how are you spending 15 to 20 minutes practicing how you write and tell stories? See, it's the little things. That's how we build our grit. That's how you sustain success for long periods of time. That's honestly how you pursue meaningful victories. Is you get okay of just focusing on today and doing the work today to put yourself in a better position tomorrow, and repeat. You're not focused on the gap. You're not worried about where you aren't yet. The only thing you're concerned with is, how am I going to get better today? How am I going to compete today? Don't worry if the work is boring. Don't get distracted by where you're not yet. Just focus on what you're going to do today. If you want to build your grit today, get your eyes off tomorrow, get your eyes off the gap, quit worrying about yesterday, don't worry about next week or what's outside of your control. Answer the question today. What's the one thing I can do to be better for tomorrow? And then go do it. I'm cheering for you, competitor. Go win your day.